Hey everybody, Movie Review Next Door here, and I'm back with another review. And this time, I'm starting another duology with the Boondock Saints. Yes, this is the Arrow video release, and I'll talk about that in a second. But this is an action crime film from 1999, directed by Troy Duffy, and it stars Sean Patrick Flanery, Norman Reedus, Willem Dafoe, David Delarocco, Billy Connolly, and Billy Connolly. In this film, with a God-inspired moral obligation to act against evil, twin brothers Connor and Murphy set out to rid Boston of criminals. However, rather than working within the system, these Irish Americans decide to take swift retribution into their own hands. So, what did I think of the Boondock Saints? Well, I have not made it um, a secret that I fucking love this movie. I think this is definitely in my top 50, at least, of films of all time that I hold near and dear to me. It's okay if people disagree. I understand it's a very split movie for some people. Some people absolutely hate it. They think it's offensive, all these other things. And some people love it for a lot of the things that it does. I, on the one side, fucking love the movie. But let me get to the cast. Sean Patrick Flanery plays Connor McManus. He is one of two Irish brothers that basically decide to take the law into their own hands. I have always loved Sean Patrick Flanery. Um, I in the recent movie Nefarious, I thought he was good. Um, well, he a bit half and half, but I think it's more the direction of that film. Saw 3D, he was one of the better parts of that. Um, I remember seeing some of the Young Indiana Jones show, and I remember him being good in it. But I do like him. I definitely need to watch more of his films. Norman Reedus plays Murphy McManus, the other brother. He does a good job as well. Um, Willem Dafoe plays Paul Smecker. He is the FBI agent that is after them, doesn't know if he wants to join them or take them in. I think Willem Dafoe steals the film whenever he's on screen. For one, he plays an actually very entertaining and non-offensively annoying gay character, which is a first for me. Because most gay characters I see in films, I'm just like, I want to punch this person because they're so fucking annoying. Willem Dafoe takes this opportunity to do something a bit new with his types of performances, and I think he really stole the show at many points. Um, Big emphasis on a scene where he dresses in drag in order to infiltrate a mob house. I will say that is one of the big highlights for me. But I'll talk more about it stuff in a little bit. David Delarocco plays Rocco. This actor has only been in this film and the second film in a cameo. I wish he was in more shit because I really like him. Because he plays an utterly despisable character. He's basically the wild card of this group. But there's something about him that is just so enjoyable to watch. Even though he is like the biggest prick ever. For some reason, I want to see him in more films. But yeah, he does a great job in this film. And Billy Connolly as Il Duce. He is this hitman that's kind of sent after the Saints later in the film. He does a great job as well. Billy Connolly is normally a comedian, and I think it was an interesting choice to have him play this kind of imposing hitman character, and I think he does a great job. But first off, I do want to mention the Arrow Video Blu-ray. Gorgeous picture quality, for sure. It is the director's cut. I don't know exactly what's added in or taken out. It's probably not a huge difference. I love this art that they have on the front. Commissioned artwork by Chris Malbon, which I do love that they commissioned the artwork because this looks gorgeous. There's a reversible cover with the original poster which is cool. I will say there's not a bunch of behind the scenes material here. It is mostly an audio commentary from the writer director, audio commentary by Billy Connolly, outtakes, deleted scenes, and the trailer, the Red Band trailer. So not much added in here, but I still have this. I think I got it for like $10, which is a steal because I fucking love this movie. But other than that, Boondock Saints. This film has a bit of a weird history because the director is what a lot of people consider an amateur. He didn't have any real like work that he did before this or after this. He mainly has done just this film and the sequel. And he's trying to do Boondock Saints 3. I don't know if it'll ever come out. I don't know if it'll ever happen. I hope. But this seems kind of like a miracle for him because these two movies were like doomed to never come out at times. And the thing about I feel bad for this guy. I've heard different things like, oh, he was a complete asshole or things were taken out of context. So I don't know. I'm not going to comment on the director because I don't know him. But I've heard that back in the day, when this came out in 1999, it was right around the time of Columbine, which is a tragedy. Massacre of school children. And a lot of action movies suffered. Now, while I do think you have to respect the children, the high schoolers, whatever, that died during that and that were injured, I don't understand why there was this big thing against violent cinema, because I really don't subscribe to the whole violent cinema creates violence. I think the only thing that really creates violence is, well, I think if you watch a violent movie and go out and kill someone, there's something, it's not, you can't just say that's the root cause. You have to examine, okay, is this person mentally fit? Have they had things happen in their past? This unlocked something in them? I don't think that the violent, like, which clearly fake violence would cause someone to hurt someone. And they say that's like what happened with the Columbine shooters, and I don't agree with that either. But that's a subject for another day. Maybe I'll do a video on violence in film, but I don't understand that. But I am glad this film did really, really, really good on home video, thus securing them 10 years later to make the sequel All Saints Day. Which I remember thinking was fine, but I'll try and watch that tonight. But this film, it gets written off constantly as style over substance. Now, I hate that term. I think it's mostly a term used to describe entertaining movies. That happens a lot. Like Wicker Park, I thought was a very entertaining thriller, romance thriller kind of thing. But it gets called style over substance. And I will say, for a bit in the film, it's a bit over-edited sometimes. Thomas Crown Affair, the original, could be seen the same way, but I think the editing actually works in the film's favor, creating a more frantic pace. And if anything, I think it got me more invested the way it was edited, both Wicker Park and Thomas Crown Affair. Here, it's not so much the editing. I think what they mean by style over substance is that there's some really cool filmmaking going on here. There's a bit, like during a lot of the action scenes, there's a lot of slow-mo. Yeah, whatever. But I think in a film like this, where the violence is actually kind of like a surprise, kind of a, well, I mean for me, because I like violent movies, when the violence isn't like just there to be violent. But in a film like this that's like both a dark comedy and a thriller and a crime movie and an action movie, it's a bunch of things. I think it actually works that it's in slow-mo a lot of the time, as it does really let you soak in what's happening, and you're like, oh yeah, these guys are killing people that are evil. And it really, sorry, I'm having to readjust. It really sinks in for you. And with this film in particular, I still wouldn't put this in like one of the best action movies of all time lists, but I will give Troy Duffy credit for trying to do something different. Because around this time, with characters that had like big raincoats or whatever. You had The Matrix as well. I'd watch this over The Matrix any day. You had The Crow from the earlier 2000 or earlier 90s, which is a really great movie. Um, and you had all these other people doing that kind of thing. Even after this, you had Underworld. It and I think Troy Duffy, even if you want to say that he is like an amateur or whatever, you gotta admit it's impressive that he made this film look as great as it does and had as great of acting in it as it does on a 6 million budget, which at the time it's more than you'd think it is, but it's still a very impressive feat. In 1999 it's not super far away from what 6 million would be now, but just as a guesstimate, I'd say about 10 million, which is not a ton of money for an action crime thriller film, black comedy. Also, I do have to talk about the comedy because this is one of those films that if you despise politically incorrect humor, you will hate. You will be miserable. I will admit that. If you're into politically incorrect humor like me, I'm not going to say if you have a sense of humor, but if you're into politically incorrect humor like I am, then you'll like this film, at least. You've got. There's just so much in this film. Because you've got multiple kind of mainish characters. You've got Sean Patrick Flannery's character and Norman Reedus' character, who are brothers. You've got Rocco. Also, David Della Rocco, played by David Della Rocco, basically playing himself, same name for some reason. I don't know. I don't care because I really like the actor. And you've got Willem Dafoe, which on the Blu-ray, on the poster, Willem Dafoe is credited first. Now, and the film is titled The Boondock Saints. Most of the screen time is given to Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus. For good reason, because you were meant to have them as the main characters. The reason I think that the trailer goes with making it, they show more of Willem Dafoe's scenes, and I can understand why from a marketing perspective they want to have him be shown as the main character. Also so that they can get it sold. And I don't hate this decision. I think it's more of a happy accident thing, because Willem Dafoe does steal the show a lot. Now, am I saying that Sean Patrick Flannery and Norman Reedus aren't good in the film? Not at all. They do great jobs. They really do. And so does David Della Rocco and Billy Connolly. Even though Billy Connolly doesn't speak a lot in this. But I do think that this is a film that the marketing actually benefited it, because I feel like people went in and they'd be like, ooh, Willem Dafoe, a cop crime movie. And it's like, wait, he's not really the main character, is he? It's these guys. And then they grow to love these characters, like I did. Even though, again, politically incorrect, whatever, whatever, but they're still fun characters. You can have a character that has some unlikable personality traits that can still be likable, or that you can still root for. And I think this film does that whole trope of kind of unlikable character that you root for. And again, very hard thing to do. But this film has so many memorable moments to it. Again, with the editing, there's a bit in the second half where Smecker, Defoe's character, is at a crime scene and he's recounting, as he has in most of his scenes, been recounting what the Saints have been doing. And then he shows up in the scene with them, and I like this type of thing where somebody appears in a scene that they're not in, and I think it's a really cool framing thing. Like the Saints like pull up this garage door, and then Smecker's behind it, and he starts walking towards the door while talking about what they're doing. Then they pull it down. A lot of really cool visual things happening here. Um, Again, during the action scenes, I think the slow-mo really works. There's I did not notice a single bit of CGI in this. And again, 1999, not every movie had CGI, especially not independent. I don't even know if you'd consider this independent, because it was released by 20th Century Fox, but it was also Franchise Pictures, who released like Battlefield Earth, 3,000 Miles to Graceland, Driven, Get Carter. But I I do think that this film does use its budget well. At no point does it feel cheap. It feels very professional. And again, people can say Troy Duffy is like unprofessional, like hasn't worked professionally all they want, but he did a great job here. Can't deny that. Um, Again, if you're not into the comedy, if you're not into these characters, if you're not into Willem Dafoe, dressing in drag in order to infiltrate a mob safe house and literally like tongue like French kissing the guy in order to like get in and murder them, then that's fine. I understand it. I laughed my ass off there, but this film is entertainment. I have a dumb smile on my face every time I watch it, meaning that I am enjoying the fuck out of this. I would watch this over the Bourne films any day, even though, again, the last two I thought were pretty good. But still, I think this is what more films should try to be. Stop trying to bring politics into everything. Just do what you want. And that's clearly what Troy Duffy is doing. So, I'll definitely be giving the sequel another look, but for now, I fucking love this movie. But yeah, that was my review of The Boondock Saints. If you've seen the film, let me know in the comments what you thought. If you got any recommendations, put those down there as well. And movie reviewer next door